Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Good morning, guys.
Hi, Joy.
Good morning. Good morning, Skip. How the Cowboys do yesterday, Skip?
They did not do well.
How about them Cowboys?
I doubt them. I'm doubting them Cowboys.
Come on,
today.
Skip. That's your squad.
Yeah, we'll talk about my squad in just a little bit here.
Got some new players.
How about your Broncos?
Yeah, got old Chubb Rock. Yeah.
He'll be pretty average. How are you?
Whatever. Not playing next to Von Miller.
Yeah. Von's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got us another.
He's also old.
Von's 28.
Yeah. I think the window closed on your Broncos.
Well, I'm happy with our pick.
Yes.
Who y'all get?
I think it's Fitzpatrick.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? That was a good pick.
Thank you.
I did not think he would still be there.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I mean,
Way
I
to
was
go,
kind
Joy.
of, hoping for a quarterback, but
I think a couple of people moved up and moved around and kind
Yeah.
of shuffled him down.
a lot of people got moved around. Let's start with the NFL draft. There were rumors for months on who the Browns would take with the #1 overall pick, and now we finally know the answer. Baker Mayfield was the top choice for Cleveland. Browns head coach Hugh Jackson said, quote, "The guy was the best college quarterback this year by far, in our opinion." 2 picks later, the Jets took another quarterback, Sam Darnold. Most of the past year, Darnold was projected to be the #1 pick. So, Shannon, who made the better pick?
I think the Jets, because up until yesterday, Skip, nobody had Baker Mayfield. I know. Now, you were saying I would just close my eyes, plunge, and I would go Baker Mayfield #1 if I'm the Cleveland Browns.
I kept telling you, do not be surprised if they take Baker Mayfield. Well, go ahead.
But I think that was a homer pick because he's from Oklahoma, and we know you bleed white and whatever that color is. You bleed that.
It's crimson and cream. Get it right.
There's only one crimson. And don't you ever say anything about crimson again.
There's only one crimson. It's in Norman, Oklahoma.
Crimson Tide. But anyway, I think the Jets, I just hope the Jets get better production from this USC quarterback as opposed to the last one they took with a top 5 pick. Let's just say I think his shelf life.
I don't connect dots in history. I don't care. But go ahead.
I do.
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah, history.
You think just because you went to this school, that means the history of quarterbacks at this school could doom you?
What is the history of USC quarterbacks?
I don't know. Carson Palmer was pretty good, right?
Well, I mean, they did go to an AFC Championship game with butt fumble.
So that's what you do. So you know what? That's you know what? I'm picking that guy because I just want to go to the AFC Championship game. But I digress. Anyway, I think the thing is that right now, if they had to play right now, I'll give a slight edge to Baker Mayfield, Skip, because he did have 46 college starts. Sam Darnold only had 24. So basically, there's a 2-year difference in between starts. Yep. One guy's 23, one guy's about to be 21. Okay. So I believe the upside for Sam Darnold is bigger. I believe you can work on those turnovers, Skip, because I believe he'll be surrounded by a better cast of characters as far as talent.
Not initially.
No, but
go ahead.
He'll get better. Yep. He'll understand that he doesn't need to force the ball. Sometimes just check the ball down. Every play they call, Sam, is not meant to be a touchdown. It's okay to get 5 yards. It's okay to get 8 yards instead of holding on to the ball and trying to get everybody clear.
By the way, don't you think he's probably going to play next year? Or Josh McCown?
Well, all things being equal, I don't think either team wants the quarterback to play. I think Cleveland wants Tyrod Taylor to hold this job down, let Baker learn. I think the Jets would like McNown.
Josh McCown.
Josh McCown.
Right.
I think they would like for him to hold it down, let Sam grow, and then probably next year they're going to move on from both quarterbacks. Because I feel comfortable in saying I don't believe Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback that he is had he had to play immediately. He got 3 years behind Brett Favre. They got an opportunity to rework his throwing motion skill. He got an opportunity to learn and study, and we see a finished product. Now, I'm not saying either one of these guys will turn out to be Aaron Rodgers, but I do think they'll be better served if they were not to play this year.
Okay. So, back to Baker Mayfield. And I am a University of Oklahoma fan. I can't help it. I got born into it. It's in my blood. But I kept warning you they might take him, and it wasn't because of my OU colors. It's just because of who he is. And I now believe the Browns made the right pick. I believe they made a good pick that could be a great pick. And bottom line, John Dorsey, the new GM, made a shockingly gutsy pick.
Oh, yeah.
Because you want to talk about big, you know what?
Yeah. Bowling balls.
Bowling balls, because he just picked the next Johnny Manziel after the first Johnny. Now, he didn't draft the first Johnny. The real Johnny went down in flames, over the edge, down the abyss into alcohol and drug use as the first-round pick of the Cleveland Browns. Because that Johnny, I still love him personally, but that Johnny loved Vegas more than he loved Cleveland, right?
Correct.
And yet, you have raised all the red flags about Baker Mayfield. He does love him some nightlife, and he did get arrested for public intoxication in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Why he was there, I have no idea. In the offseason,
he was on
and he ran from the cops and got thrown up against a brick wall. And it was an ugly incident, and yet I am now 51-49 that Baker Mayfield will stay out of trouble. And if he does stay out of trouble, you will be wrong about what you just said.
That's only 2% difference.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm 51-49. Well, I think Cleveland's about 51-49.
Okay.
But I'm now convinced that all the other antics that Cleveland convinced itself, its front office, its head coach, that they are all part of Baker's extraordinary competitive fire. And he does have, we had Charlie Weiss sit right there after the national semifinal game and say, I'm taking that kid, Baker Mayfield, because he has things I can't coach or teach. He plays with extreme energy, extreme swagger, extreme confidence. He is trash talking like no quarterback I think I've ever seen. And in the end, he has true, authentic, competitive fire. So I think Cleveland said, okay, the crotch grab was competitive fire. The drilling the TCU player in the helmet with the warm-up pass was competitive fire before a big rivalry.
Skip, if you like a guy, you talk yourself into anything.
Okay.
You'll excuse any kind of behavior he displays.
I think Hugh Jackson sat back and said, I love it that he planted the flag in the middle of the horseshoe against the Ohio State. So, in the end, I say this is a good to great pick because in the end, Baker Mayfield played way better than any of these other quarterbacks played. He performed at a way higher level than Sam Darnold did.
Yes.
That's just me. And quick point that I heard yesterday somewhere, one of the second-level stats had, Baker Mayfield had fewer passes batted at the line of scrimmage than any of the other top 5 quarterbacks. So you've brought up his height. He's 6'1.5" inches, you know, like in that range, 6 feet and 5/8 of an inch. So he's Drew Brees' size, but he is, I think, underrated, elusive in the pocket. He has good pocket. He's not downfield fast. He ran a 4.840, which is okay.
I don't worry about a quarterback.
Okay. He moves to throw. He does not move to run.
Correct.
But because he can move with some elusivity in the pocket, he creates avenues, windows to throw through, sort of the way he's more elusive than Drew Brees is to me.
Can he outrun Tom Brady?
I'd say 4.8 would outrun Tom Brady.
Well, we good then.
Okay, but Sam Darnold had the same 40 time as Baker Mayfield. They're the same. And Sam's a really good athlete for his size, and he's obviously
6'4",
considerably bigger than Baker Mayfield. But I'm going to remind everybody that Baker Mayfield, for the last 2 years, led all of college football in total QBR. That's hard to do. I'm going to remind everybody, to your point, he started 3 years of high-level college football, and he averaged over those 3 years 40 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. That's the average across the board of those 3 years. They're almost the same, like carbon copy years of 40 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Wouldn't you say that will compute, that'll translate?
It should.
Okay.
But Skip, what he's doing by doing this, he's bucking history. We talk about Drew Brees. Drew Brees wasn't the #1 overall draft pick. Drew Brees.
Well, there's only one Drew Brees that I know of. You don't see, they don't grow on trees like that.
But let me ask
that's a small tree.
Let me ask you a question. When he was in San Diego, did you think he'd be where he is right now?
I did not.
Russell Wilson came in. He didn't go Russell went to an ideal.
Don't compare Baker to Russell because it's not even close on athletic ability. It's not even.
No, but I'm just saying. I'm saying quarterback as far as height comparison.
Okay.
And Russell went to the ideal situation, Skip, a defensive, run-based football team.
Yep.
Russell Wilson is not the polished quarterback that we see now. He wasn't that then.
No.
They were a very run-dominant team. Baker Mayfield is going to Cleveland, and he's going to be the savior. He's brought there to be the savior.
And to that point, I believe Cleveland's brass sat back and said, he is afraid of no moment. He will take over our franchise. He will, trust me, and trust me on this. He will not sit still very long behind Tyrod. He will not love this. He's not a backup. He won't willingly take the quiet role behind Tyrod, like Aaron Rodgers. I didn't even hear from Aaron Rodgers for 3 years behind Brett Favre. That's not this kid, because he's going to want to set the tone for the whole franchise.
There's a little difference between Brett and Tyrod, but okay.
Okay, well, but it's true. But I have a lot of respect for Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah,
man.
He ain't no 3-time MVP.
Okay, no, I got it. But he is quality.
Yeah.
And D'Angelo Hall sitting here the last couple of days saying Cleveland shouldn't even take a quarter. He is good enough. You could go forward for a couple of years with him and take 2 really good football players at 1 and 4. And I get that.
Either significant injury or Tyrod is going to have to drop off a cliff in order for Baker Mayfield to get this job.
Okay. So here's the difference to me between Baker Mayfield and Johnny Manziel. Johnny was completely off script. Johnny had little to no use for studying the X's and O's of the playbook.
Yep.
Baker Mayfield is a football junkie. He is a film study nerd. I know this for a fact. He likes his playbook. He also likes his nightlife, but he has some balance, because when it's time to play football, he is high IQ and cares about staying on script. And as I keep calling him, he's a careful risk taker. He will try fitting throws through tight windows, but they don't get picked.
Right.
Because he's making calculated risk decisions. I know I can get the ball there without them picking it off.
Well, the thing that hurt Johnny Manziel also, Skip, is that he really needed to play off script in order to be successful.
He did.
Because, like you said, because he wasn't X's and O's, he needed it to break down so people become chaotic, and then he could either run the football or find an open receiver. Baker Mayfield is more scripted.
He is.
Now, he can get off script by times with his legs, throw the ball down the field, or maybe take off running. But Johnny, they're different in this aspect. Johnny wanted the play to break down.
He did.
Baker doesn't want the play to break down, but if it does, he's more than capable of making something happen.
And Johnny did not mind taking off and running, and Baker just doesn't like it. He doesn't do it.
Bad things happen when you quarterback.
Well, he does, and he got beat up. Georgia knocked him around. In fact, Mel Kiper, I thought it was almost like reporting news, that Lincoln Riley had told him Baker got dinged or nicked in the Georgia game, because I was disappointed in how it ended, obviously. And I was saying, let Baker throw it, keep the ball in his hands. And all of a sudden, the plays started getting called for other players.
Running,
And
maybe that was the reason.
He was banged up. And Georgia and Roquan Smith, by the way. Well, that was a great pick for the Chicago Bears. Roquan Smith, I tweeted this yesterday. He's the best player at any position in the whole draft, and Chicago stole it.
It was only fitting that he goes there, because when you think of Chicago, what do you think about?
I think of Mike Singletary or whoever you want to go to, Butkus.
Urlacher.
He will fit right into that position.
I think Bill George was the first one.
He was. Way to go. Good. And he's so Chicago. He's so Bear. He's the perfect Chicago Bear. But he was all over Baker Mayfield, and this is where he leaped off my screen. I said, that guy is a stud, and he played big against Alabama.
But you don't know the real Crimson. Crimson number 1.
No, the fake Crimson.
Don't do that, Skip. Why would you do that?
Because Oklahoma has a better tradition than Alabama. Go look at it. Just go look at the whole tradition. Who has the better, historically, who has the best program in the history of college football? Oklahoma does. I'm sorry. Don't get me off script. You got me off script. You made me go Johnny on you.
No, look, y'all got all them Heisman trophies. We just got them trophies down there in Birmingham.
We got wins, baby. We got lots of trophies.
Y'all been playing football since 1850.
Okay, speaking of tradition, Sam Darnold did play for USC.
Yep.
And the expectations were extraordinarily high going into this past football season for Sam Darnold to win the Heisman and lift his team into the national playoff race, right?
Right.
And I believe he is such a great kid, because he is a great kid, that he's one of those tries too hard kids. He wants it so badly, he doesn't know how to channel his competitive desire into poise. Some kids can do it, like Deshaun Watson. I said a year ago, Cleveland's going to make a monumental mistake if they don't take him, and they made a monumental mistake, and maybe now they'll cover for it or make up for it. But Sam Darnold pressed. And I'm afraid he will press for the Jets, because he's still a very high pick in New York with the New York media, and he was a turnover machine, man. Interceptions went up 9-13. He led the nation in lost fumbles last year with 8, and the sacks went from 6 to 29.
I mean, some of that's on him, but some of that's on his offensive line also.
Some. I agree, but he had that one big game when I came in here on Monday and said, I'm leaning toward him for the first pick in the draft. And that was against Texas, which finished 7-6. I don't know. That was the big shootout that went to double overtime.
Well, I mean, the thing was, what got him into the national spotlight was that Rose Bowl game in which they beat Penn State and he went bonkers. They were down big, and all of a sudden he's throwing the ball all over the field.
You know, I'm starting to think there was no defense played in that game, and that it made two players. It made Sam Darnold, and it made Saquon Barkley.
Because Saquon Barkley was running and catching over everybody, and, you know, here he goes number 2, and Darnold goes number 3.
Are you sure we didn't overrate both coming out of that game?
That could be a possibility. And like you say, you don't believe in tradition, but we know the tradition of the Penn State running back.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about Saquon a little later.
So I hope I'm wrong for the sake of my Jets fans friends here at Fox, some of them in the control room as we speak. But I just don't love Sam Darnold to the Jets. I just don't love it. I'm not sure about him. I'm not sure he's going to be able to live up to the hype there. Because now everybody's thinking, we stole Sam Darnold. We got the real first pick in the draft with the third pick in the draft.
I sure wish, you know, I was sitting back when they selected Baker Mayfield. I said, I wish Cleveland would have selected Saquon Barkley, and to see what would have happened after the sequence of events that would have happened after that. Because I'm not so sure where do the Giants go now.
Maybe they take Sam Darnold. Maybe Baker Mayfield's a Jet.
Maybe. But, and then Josh Rosen wouldn't have been PO'd.
Yeah. So now, from this point forward, you're going to have to root against Baker Mayfield because you're going to have to root for him to fail off the field. That's what's going to happen.
What? No, I ain't gonna root against him.
Well, you want to hear that bulletin. You want to keep that cell phone
alert where
he got arrested. Or
Suggs in Pittsburgh, they're going to take care of that.
Are they?
Yeah, they do that.
Really?
Yeah, I ain't going to root against him.
Okay. All right.
I just wanted to be back there when, when Suggs, old Sizzle.
Well,
your guy get hold of it.
I think they're going to get a shot at him sooner
and he ain't got no
later.
Joe Thomas.
No, he doesn't. That's a good point. Well, we'll see. But he's got some receivers to throw to.
Oh yeah, well he got that one.
Jarvis Landry up there now.
Oh, come on, Joy.
Jarvis is a good receiver.
I mean,
they certainly paid him as such.
Well, yeah, they paid him like he had Antonio Brown and Julio.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Did the Cowboys make a huge mistake with their first round pick? Skip will answer that question next.